back, and then to start off with, I've got a different background. So instead of pointing that way, I'm now pointing that way. So you can see some of my favourite albums behind me. I've got, Nag Nag Nag, Soft Cell, The Sex Dwarf, that came out a few years ago. White Vinyl, Duran Duran, The Pictures of Sex Pistols from Record Store Day from quite a few years ago. The Culture Club, and they've got the Adam and the Ants. This changes all the time, so I may do a couple of videos like this. I kind of like this look. And obviously got the twin records over there because I did a video of them quite recently. So the record I'm talking about today, it's an incredible album, and what I'm talking about is Tracy Chapman. So it's a self-titled album from Tracy Chapman. It's a debut album. It came out on April the 5th in 1988 on Elektra Records. And it was recorded at the Power Track Studio in Hollywood, California in 1987. Kind of doing some research on this, I knew kind of some of the stories about this, how she was discovered, how she was at school and someone, she was doing like protest songs and everything like that. And, she had a demo. She refused to kind of do demos for anyone or record demos for anyone. To get some airplay, she did some demos for a radio station, who then passed on to someone whose father managed to get her like a record deal. And that was all off the back of talking about a revolution. So I'd never heard of Tracy Chapman before this album came out. And up to this point, everything was all kind of like, synth poppy, lots of beats. And, it was very different. When this album dropped, it was just very different. It's almost like an acoustic album, really. But I absolutely fell in love with this album. I'm really glad they've reissued this, and we'll talk about the reissue in a second, because to pick up copies of this album was getting really quite expensive. Because when it first came out, I was buying a lot of CDs at the time, so I didn't buy the vinyl. But years later, when I'm trying to buy the vinyl, even a couple of years ago, I was trying to go and find it on vinyl, and it was just really expensive. So thank God they released this 35th anniversary, even though I'm sure it's older than 35 years. Learning about this album, there was many attempts to produce this album, but a lot of producers turned it down because at the time, again, it was all the music was completely different. The music scene was completely different, and this again was more like just a guitar acoustic album. So a lot of producers did turn this down, not expecting it to be a hit at all. And one person did take it. I can never pronounce his name. David Kirschenbaum. I can never pronounce it. Please someone tell me how to pronounce that. And yeah, so he decided to produce it, and he really wanted to record an acoustic album. It was recorded in Hollywood, in California, in 8 weeks. And most of the writing's based on political and social causes, which you can hear from all through the tracks. It's crazy to think that she kind of wrote all these songs on her own, because some of the lyrics are just so intelligent, and the stories they tell as well. And I think that's what's missing from a lot of music nowadays. It's the storytelling within songs. Every track on this album has a story to tell, and it's just I absolutely love this. When it got released, people were just going crazy over it, especially the climate of the time. With the styles of music that were around, and being a black artist as well was incredible. This made top of the charts in from Switzerland, Denmark, United Kingdom, Austria, Canada, New Zealand, and it even peaked number 1 in the US Billboard chart, which was unbelievable. And it's certified 6 times. I said 5 there, 6. Okay, 6 times. By the Recording Industry Association of America, with sales exceeding over 6 million copies in the United States alone. Incredible album. 3 singles were released from this album as well. We know Fast Car. That was the first time I ever heard of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. And also it was performed at the Nelson Mandela 70th birthday tribute as well. Amazing. Again, that got to the top of the US Billboard Top 100. Did really well in Australia. And that was released in 1988, just off the back of this album, or just before this album. And then they released Talking About a Revolution, which was... It's probably one of the first songs she ever wrote, but it got released as a single eventually. And that was in July 1988. And then the final one was Baby Can I Hold You, October 1988. I was quite surprised that they released that from this album. It's a great track, but I thought there were stronger tracks on the album, to be honest. But yeah, so that is Tracy Chapman's first debut album, Tracy Chapman, Tracy Chapman. We all know this artwork, and what I love about this picture is you're just seeing someone who just absolutely, it's all about the music. Yeah. There's no fancy photography. There's no like big hairstyles and stylists. It's, hey, this is it. I'm Tracy Chapman. This is me, and this is my music. Brilliant. And she's just an incredible artist. And even her later stuff, I still followed. But this is where it all started, my love for Tracy Chapman. So they've recreated the album. Tracy Chapman featuring Fast Car, Talk About Revelation, Baby Can I Hold You, because you know I always love my hype stickers. But then it's got a sticker there with the 35th anniversary, and I'm sure it's older than 35 years old. Please tell me if I'm wrong. This came out on April the 5th, 1988. I'm bad at maths, but I can't be that bad. Let me know. Not only, I'm going to tell you, the Grammy Awards this artist and this record got is, I mean, doing the research on this, I did not realise how big this album actually was. But you've got side A starts with talking about revolution, goes into Fast Car. So it's like side A has already got the big tracks across the lines. Oh, that one should have been released as a single. Behind the Wall, another one should have been released as a single, all about domestic abuse. Baby Can I Hold You? And to be honest, to me, if there was such a thing as a weak track on this album, it was probably Baby Can I Hold You, which got released as the third single. Mountain of Things, She's Got a Ticket, Why, For My Lover, If Not Now, For You. I mean, every track is just a killer on this album. I know there was a few tracks that didn't make this album, and over the years I've heard them. It would have been quite nice to see like a bonus record with this, or something with like maybe a couple of remixes, or maybe even just the tracks that I've never heard, or maybe the original demo of Talking About Revolution, because that's what started it for Tracy Chapman. The inside sleeve, which is again very much like, it's the same shoot as the front cover, but this time she's laughing, which is, I think, is quite a nice photo. And then on the back, you've got all the lyrics in English for lyrics. Now, there's a reason why I'm going to tell you in English. Inside, you've got the classic Electra label, as we all know that. I remember a lot of early hip hop used to have this as well. The reason why I said the lyrics are in English, because you also get this pull-out with all the lyrics on it as well, in all different languages, which I thought, that's a nice little touch, you know. So this album is such a universal album, and this proves it. We've got the lyrics, we've got the English lyrics, and we have, you know, I think the Spanish on here. There's all sorts, all different kind of languages on here, so everyone can understand what she's talking about and writing about. But this album, believe it or not, I'm going to talk about the Grammys with this. As I said, I did not know this. So Tracy Chapman, as an artist, she got the Album of the Year. She got nominated. Best Contemporary, she won. Fast Car, the single, got Song of the Year, nominated. Record of the Year, nominated. Best Female Pop, won. And then you got Tracy, Brand New Artist, won. And then David, the producer of the album, got Producer of the Year, who was nominated. So to me, being nominated is just as good as winning. The fact that you got nominated out of thousands of different artists and producers. So she got all these Grammy Awards and nominations from this one record, and it still stands the test of time. If you haven't heard this album, please, honestly, it doesn't matter what kind of music you're into, this will talk to you. It's just a brilliant record, and I'm so glad they've released it again. So my pockets are not being emptied trying to find an original copy of it. Again, Tracy Chapman, self-titled album, debut album with Tracy Chapman, released 35th anniversary. Go and check it out. Thank you very much.